Think Like a Freak, book by Stephen D. Levitt, Stephen J. Dubner. Chapter 2. I don't know is an acceptable answer. When you were a kid, did you ever feel pressured to know the answer about something when you really didn't know? Did an adult authority figure ever tell you that "I don't know" isn't an acceptable answer? Most people have had this experience, and it instilled in us an immense pressure and fear of failure. So what happened? We learned to make up answers even when we knew we were lying. We learned to pretend we had it all figured out, if for no other reason than to avoid looking stupid. We learned that looking stupid was worse than admitting we didn't know something. And of course, those priorities are massively out of whack, not to mention completely untrue. Because, contrary to the misguided teachings of many adults, "I don't know" is absolutely an acceptable answer. In fact, it's one we need to practice saying more often. Why? To answer that question, just think about all the times you've pretended you knew something when you didn't. For most of us, this occurs even in extremely innocent contexts, like pretending you know the name of a rapper or YouTuber when you've never heard of them. You might pretend you heard someone when you didn't quite understand what they said. You might laugh along as if you understood a joke when you didn't. All of these things are harmless and innocent. It's highly unlikely that anyone will be hurt or offended by your lies in these scenarios. But pretending you know something when you don't can cause you a significant amount of stress. In fact, in some cases, it can even lead to grave misunderstandings and cause a great deal of offense. For example, let's imagine that a friend comes to you with a bit of juicy gossip. They ask if you heard the rumor about someone. You don't want to appear ignorant, disinterested, or out of the loop, so you say yes. And even though you don't know the facts of the story, you go along with what they're saying. Perhaps you even accept their version as a fact and pass the story along to someone else. But what if you didn't know both sides of the story? What if your friend was biased or similarly misinformed? What if it turns out that the rumor was both malicious and unfounded? In this case, you've now spread hurtful misinformation to others. Not only have you damaged someone else's reputation, you've harmed your own. And all because you didn't really know what you were talking about. But if this risk is so prevalent and so potentially harmful, why do we continue to do it? Why can't we simply say, "Sorry, I don't really know enough about that to comment on it"? The simple truth is that often we're just afraid of looking stupid. We've spent a significant portion of our lives being programmed to fear failure and stupidity, and so we don't want to admit that we just don't know. But this is yet another convention and challenging. That is part of thinking like a freak. So, that's why the authors challenge you to get comfortable with saying, "I don't know." Get comfortable with admitting that you're not familiar with something, or that you don't have all the answers. Get comfortable with holding your opinions or judgments until you have all the facts. We promise it won't hurt you. In fact, it will actually improve your quality of life. Here's how. Nobody likes a know-it-all, right? Nobody likes the people who always have to be the smartest person in the room, or those who clearly enjoy hearing the sound of their own voices. And as a result, people tend to dismiss what they have to say. Why? Because people don't respect them. If you're constantly engaged in verbal vomit, regurgitating your opinions onto others just to feel included, people will pick up on that pretty quickly. They'll figure out that you don't have anything original to contribute, and that you just like to talk a lot. Therefore, your words are unlikely to carry a lot of weight. By contrast, if you're slower to deliver your opinions and you can back up what you say with statistics and facts, people are more inclined to listen to you. They'll know that your words hold value because you wait until you actually know what you're talking about, and they'll respect you for admitting that sometimes you don't know enough to be part of the conversation. As we mentioned in the previous chapter, following this strategy might not make you very popular. And at first, you might feel silly because this is such a massive breach of convention. But it's valuable because it's so rare, and people will recognize that. So get comfortable admitting that you don't know something, and give yourself the freedom to be wrong. Because in doing so, you'll also give yourself the freedom to learn, explore, and get it right. And that's one of the best parts of thinking like a freak.